Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm bringing you another video that tells the love story of Hoai Ca and Hùng, a story about their very real, very down-to-earth life with their daughter Anna and Hoai Ca's son from a previous relationship, little Tony. This is not a story painted with grand, dramatic details, but one shaped by small, familiar moments that happen every day in an ordinary yet deeply loving family. Time passes gently, like a calm river, quiet, unhurried, silently flowing through each day in Hoai Ca and Hùng home. Since the day they welcomed their little daughter Anna, the already warm atmosphere of the house has become even livelier. Laughter appears more often, nights grow longer with late hours spent caring for the baby, and mornings begin with routines that all revolve around that tiny child. Anna grows up surrounded by love, little by little, day by day, under the patient watch of those who are always by her side. Beside Anna, there is always Tony. Her older brother from the same mother, now 3 years old, is quietly present in his own way. Tony doesn't talk much and responds to the world more slowly than other children his age. Sometimes, he simply sits still, his eyes carefully observing the daily activities of the household, not interrupting, not expressing his feelings clearly through words. Yet within that silence, Tony carries a gentle presence. He stays close to Anna in his own way, never noisy, never clumsy, but slow and careful, as if afraid of disturbing his little sister's fragile world. As the days pass, Anna begins to change in noticeable ways. From a baby who lay calmly in her mother's arms, she starts to roll over, then learns to crawl. Every time Anna successfully turns over or manages to crawl a few small steps across the floor, the whole family can't hide their joy. These moments, which may seem small, become memories that Hoai Ca and Hùng will hold onto for a long time. They sit beside her, watching every tiny movement, every subtle expression, as if afraid of missing even a single moment in Anna's journey of growing up. Then comes the day Anna takes her very first steps, and once again, the entire family is overwhelmed with emotion. The small room seems to fall unusually quiet, all eyes fixed on the little girl wobbling in the middle of the floor. Hùng still remembers that moment vividly, Anna walking slowly toward him, one careful step at a time, her tiny hand stretched forward, her steps unsteady but her eyes filled with determination. The distance between father and daughter is not far, yet each of Anna's steps carries an ocean of emotion. Behind them, Hoai Ca stands still, watching her child. On her face is a smile she cannot hide, yet her eyes are filled with tears. She smiles and cries at the same time, as if all the emotions she has held through the long days of caring for her child suddenly come rushing out. It is not only the joy of seeing Anna walk, but also a deep sense of gratitude, for being able to witness her child grow up day by day in peace and love. Every milestone in Anna's journey of growing up is cherished and treasured by the whole family. From the smallest changes to the slow but steady progress, everything is remembered as a precious gift that time has brought. In this gentle flow of life, the days of Hoai Ca and Hùng family continue to pass, softly, closely connected, and full of emotion, creating quiet yet profound memories, layered upon one another through the years. Then came a day that seemed completely ordinary, a day with no special signs, just like any other in that house. Anna was sitting on the floor, playing with a few familiar toys that had accompanied her throughout her time learning to crawl and walk. Soft sunlight filtered through the window, falling onto the floor in gentle streaks of light. Anna sat there, small and delicate, her clear eyes slowly looking around the familiar space, as if quietly observing a world that belonged only to her. Hoai Ca was nearby at the time, tidying things up while keeping an eye on her child, a habit formed long ago. She never imagined that the moment about to happen would become a memory she would carry for the rest of her life. In the calm, almost hushed stillness of the room, Anna suddenly spoke, her voice still baby-soft yet surprisingly clear. "Mom." The sound wasn't loud, but it was enough to make Hoai Ca freeze for a few seconds. She stood still, hardly daring to believe what she had just heard. Her heart trembled, just one soft but powerful beat, as if something deep inside her had been touched. And when she realized it wasn't her imagination, Hoai Ca broke down in tears. They fell uncontrollably, tears of surprise, of happiness, of emotion so overwhelming it took her breath away. That simple "Mom" was not only a milestone in Anna's growth, but the embodiment of all the days of love, sacrifice, and waiting, wrapped into those two gentle words. Before Hoai Ca could even calm herself, Anna turned toward Hung. The little girl smiled naturally, innocently, as if unaware of how deeply she had just moved the adults around her. Then Anna spoke again, her voice still hesitant but clear. "Dad." Hung stood there, completely stunned. His throat tightened, words caught in his chest. He didn't react right away, only looked at his daughter, as if afraid that even the slightest movement might cause the moment to disappear. That call felt profoundly real, profoundly sacred, pulling every emotion inside him together at once. It wasn't just the joy of a father hearing his child call him, it was the feeling of being acknowledged, of belonging, of being fully loved in a role he had always cherished. Hung stepped forward and pulled both mother and daughter into his arms. He held them tightly, as if trying to keep that moment from slipping away. Hoai Ca was still crying, her tears soaking into Hung's shoulder, but these were tears of complete and perfect happiness. Anna rested between them, still wide-eyed, still smiling, not yet understanding the full meaning of what she had just said, yet becoming the very center of the emotions overflowing in that small room. The moment itself was brief, yet it felt as though time had slowed down. No words were needed, no further actions required, only the unmistakable bond of three people held together in a single embrace. Happiness spread deeply and fully, impossible to express with words alone, felt only through the gentle trembling of hearts beating softly in unison. What moved Hoai Ca the most came immediately afterward, in a moment that felt completely natural, an instinctive act of a child who had yet to fully understand the world around her. After calling out to her mother and father, Anna slowly turned around. Her clear, innocent eyes settled on Tony, the older brother who had always been nearby, quietly present all this time. Anna crawled toward him, each movement still slow and clumsy, yet filled with determination, as if she knew exactly who she was looking for. She stopped in front of her brother and sat close beside him. Anna's tiny hand reached out and gently touched Tony's hand. The touch was light, almost hesitant, yet clear enough for Hoai Ca, watching from a distance, to notice every small movement. Then Anna lifted her head and looked at Tony with a familiar gaze, the same look she gave her mother and father when she called their names. After a brief pause, she spoke, her baby-soft voice small but clear. "Brother." The sound made Hoai Ca nearly hold her breath. She stood still, her heart beating faster, not from surprise, but from the intensity of the emotion rising within her. Tony did not respond. As usual, he did not speak, only looking at Anna with his familiar, innocent gaze. There was no avoidance in his eyes, no confusion, just a quiet, steady look, the same way Tony observed the world around him. Anna didn't receive a verbal response, but she showed no sign of confusion or disappointment. She stayed right there, close to her brother. Then she called out again, this time more slowly, each word spoken clearly, as if she were doing her very best to make sure Tony could hear and understand. The word "brother" was repeated, unhurried, not demanding, just gentle and patient. Each time she called, Anna looked at Tony carefully, waiting, as if believing that her brother would respond in some way. She didn't stop there. Anna began babbling the familiar sounds she had just learned. She slowly and separately spoke the words "Dad" and "Mom," her voice soft yet clear. She turned back and forth between Hoai Ca, Hung, and Tony, as if trying to connect everyone together. In that moment, Anna seemed to be patiently teaching her brother how to speak, how to say "Dad," how to say "Mom," using only the pure and innocent way of a child. Tony still said nothing. He simply sat there, his eyes following each of his sister's movements. Yet Hoai Ca noticed something deeply familiar, something only a mother could truly recognize. Tony didn't move away. he didn't turn his face elsewhere. He stayed there, listening, watching, taking everything in his own way. His silence no longer made Hoai Ca feel the ache it once did. Instead, it became a natural part of this deeply emotional moment. Watching her two children sitting side by side, Hoai Ca felt a happiness that was deep and quiet. It wasn't a loud or expressive joy, but a warmth that slowly spread through her heart, gentle yet enduring. She could see the pure love between her children, a kind of affection that needed no words, no conditions, no comparisons, no distinctions. Simply being there together, touching each other, and offering one another a natural, unforced patience. The moment unfolded in the stillness of the house, yet it was filled with emotion. Hoai Ca stood watching as tears silently fell from her eyes without her even realizing it. Not from sadness, but because her heart felt completely full. It was then she understood that amid differences, slowness, and silence, love was still present, clearly, truly, revealed in the way her children reached toward one another. Although Anna is just over 1 year old, her first words have already become quite clear, especially the deeply familiar calls of dad, mom, and brother. These sounds are no longer random babbling or unconscious repetition. They now carry emotion, awareness, and a very real sense of connection. Each time Anna calls out, her voice, clear, soft, and bright, echoes through the familiar space of the house, often causing the adults to pause for a few seconds just to listen, just to feel. It seems that every single call contains within it an entire journey of quiet growth, built day by day, little by little. There are moments when Anna sits alone on the floor, surrounded by her familiar toys. She is absorbed in her own small world, and then suddenly looks up, her eyes sparkling as she glances around. The moment she sees Tony nearby, even if he is only standing still or sitting quietly in a corner, Anna immediately calls out to him. The word brother comes naturally, without hesitation, as if it is the most obvious thing in her world. To Anna, Tony is not just someone who happens to be there, he is an inseparable part of her everyday life. Day after day, Anna casually calls Tony, takes his hand, and pulls him closer to their parents. These actions repeat so often that they become a completely natural habit. Sometimes she tugs his hand with determination, other times she holds it gently and slowly, as if afraid of making him uncomfortable. But in her simple, innocent mind, Anna has only one wish, that the whole family stays together, stands close together, and shares the same moment. She doesn't distinguish, compare, or recognize differences, she simply follows her pure emotions. Tony sometimes follows his sister at a slow pace. There are moments when he doesn't fully understand what Anna wants, yet he still allows her to hold his hand. Other times, he simply stands still, eyes looking ahead, letting Anna tug at his hand, his sleeve, gently pulling him closer to Hoai Ca and Hung. His slowness carries no resistance, only Tony's own rhythm, quiet, gentle, unhurried. And it is precisely this slowness that unintentionally blends with Anna's innocence, creating a scene so special that only those within it can fully understand. Hoai Ca often stands silently watching these moments. Sometimes she is busy in the kitchen, sometimes seated in a corner of the room, but her eyes are always following her children. She says nothing and never interferes, simply observing every small gesture. Inside her, a deep, quiet sense of gratitude rises. It is not gratitude because everything is perfect, but gratitude for the very real moments unfolding right before her eyes. She knows that life is not always smooth, and that her journey as a mother has never been easy. Hoai Ca understands that happiness does not lie in everything being complete or perfectly aligned with expectations. Happiness, to her, has never meant that her children must be the same, develop in the same way, or fit into invisible standards. Happiness, in this moment, is simply that her children are growing up surrounded by love, accepted for who they are, protected by patience and understanding each day. It is Anna freely calling her brother, and Tony quietly staying by her side without being forced to change. Watching Anna innocently call out to her brother, and seeing Tony quietly remain beside her in his own way, Hoai Ca gradually realizes that these simple moments carry an immense strength. No grand promises are needed, no lengthy explanations, no proof of anything at all. As long as her children are together, naturally feeling each other's presence, that is already enough. The daily calls of dad, mom, and brother are not merely signs of a 1-year-old's language development. They are invisible yet powerful threads, tightly binding each member of the family together. In that home, everything seems to blend together gently. Anna's clear laughter occasionally rings out during peaceful afternoons, brightening the space. Tony's quiet presence does not make the house feel empty. Instead, it brings a warmth that is unique and difficult to name, an unspoken presence that is steady and safe. Hung's gentle gaze always watches the children from a distance, never pushing, never interfering too much, simply being there, ready whenever they need him. And Hoai Ca's smile, though sometimes mixed with emotional tears, always carries a sense of deep and genuine peace. All of these things, when placed together, create a picture of family peace in a very unique way. Not loud, not showy, not something that needs to be announced to the world, but complete for those who are living within it. A picture painted from the smallest, most ordinary moments, yet filled with deep and lasting emotion. For Hoai Ca and Hung, as long as each day passes with everyone sharing the same space, still hearing the familiar calls of dad, mom, brother echoing somewhere in the house, happiness is already here, very close, very real. Be sure to watch the next video to continue following Hung and Hoai Ca's journey in the chapters ahead. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next stories.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Áp lực quá trời. Mình đang làm video mọi người ạ. Hẹn gặp lại mọi người ở những video sau nhé.